In a world filled with sniveling snowflakes, where timeouts and safe places are abundant, where there's 37 genders to scroll through and a job application. Not that they have jobs. We're proud to be your salvation and your beacon to unabashed, in-your-face talk. This is Stars, Bars, and Cigars, the no-holds-barred conservative talk show hosted by battle-tested vets. Lock and load and get ready for an explosive journey through breaking news, the rich tapestry of constitutional history, and the pulse-pounding realities of Army and Navy life. Oh, and yeah, cigars. Stars, Bars, and Cigars. And now your hosts, Jimmy the Bull and Tig Tigger.
Hey, Patriots and Snowflakes, Tig, how are ya?
I'm doing good, Bill Bull. How are you doing there?
I'm doing good there, Tig.
Long weekend, you know.
Yeah, we'll go into that in a little bit, but tonight our episode is the Great Awakening. But we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But first, you know what I'm going to say.
What are you
smoking?
All right, I got the Henry Clay Warhawk.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little cigar there. This one's a Corona. It's a little one. It's probably not going to take me too long to smoke it. A little something on this. I kind of did some research on it. It's not much, just a little bit, because you know, I was like, well, okay, I've smoked these before, but I mean, they're a good cigar. This one's a little Corona. It's the wrapper's in Ecuador, Connecticut, and its origin is Honduras. And I haven't done a Honduras cigar in a while. I've been doing
I did one not too long ago.
I've been doing these Nicaraguans quite a bit. So on the show, I had to switch it up a little bit. So, okay, the man, the legend, the Warhawk, as I'm reading this little thing I pulled up on it. Henry Clay was an outspoken man as a United States congressman and senator in the early 1800s. He fiercely advocated for war, of course. Was he working for Israel? Excuse me.
Yeah, right.
So for war with Britain, actually.
Yeah.
Go figure. Britain's another one. In order to secure Florida and the Northwest for America. And he played a big role in beginning the War of 1812. 1812 Overture, if some of you have heard from Tchaikovsky, is a pretty good musical piece, too. I'm kind of getting off base here. But
dun, 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 dun.
It's got cannons in it and everything. I'm not going to recite it. The 1812 Overture is pretty good classical piece, though, for those who like music, which is just about everybody. But, you know, classical music is, you got to have an ear for it. Clay and his supporters were known as Warhawks. And now his namesake cigar brand is basically honoring the reputation with a feisty new, this is written back when it started off. It's been a few years. So, but it was, you know, it said that it was with a feisty new blend, the Henry Clay Warhawk. Okay. The Warhawk replaces the Connecticut broadleaf wrapper used on previous Henry Clay releases with a sumptuous Ecuador Connecticut wrapper. Over top, a broadleaf binder and long fillers from the lush soils of Honduras. The profile is balanced yet spicy, producing notes of earth, cocoa, and cedar. Following the success of the 92 rated Henry Clay stock cut, this release is sure to fly off the shelves. Back then, that's what they were talking about. It's sure to fly. Now, you know, it's a few years old, but I mean, and it did get like a 90-something rating too, I believe. And then they said, well, we're not saying you'll have to go to war to get your hands on some, but you won't want to wait. And then it says, good news, Henry Clay Warhawk was named number 10 cigar of 2020. It was in the top 10 in 2020, you know, during COVID when
Yeah.
I certainly did not wear a mask. I went out smoking cigars in public to piss people off. It had a 95 rating. Okay, I'm reading on. I see that it had 95 rating. And it, it had like spice and nutmeg also as far as the flavors. So yeah, Henry Clay has put out some good cigars in the past, and this one I did smoke before, and it is a very good smoke, and so I'm just going to smoke it again tonight. I'll tell people right off the bat before I light it, I recommend it. If you can find a Henry Clay Warhawk, go ahead and pick yourself up one. It's a good smoke.
Yeah, I've smoked that before. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good cigar.
Yeah. So what do you got there, Bull? What are you
All
smoking?
right. So tonight I am smoking a St. Louis Rey Carinas. This is a Magnum. This is a 6x60. So she's a pretty nice little stick here.
Yeah, you get a mouthful there.
Yeah. My big mouth.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, they're nothing to sneeze at, St. Louis Rey. I mean,
No.
they're an economical cigar. They run about $5 a cigar, but they're pretty damn good, actually, for the money. They're one of those, everyday smokes that are pretty
It's like
decent.
a sleeper.
Wow.
It's actually got a nice little flavor profile to it. I'm getting kind of like some roasted nut flavor. It is a Honduran cigar also, so we're kind of sticking into the origins of the Honduras.
And we did not plan this, folks.
No, we didn't.
We did
The wrapper.
not plan that.
Yeah, the wrapper is a Nicaraguan, the binder is Honduran, and the filler is Honduran. So it's kind of an interesting little smoke here. This here is created by the Grupo de Maestros of Le Flor de Copan, the St. Louis Rey Carinas. Yeah.
Are we talking French now?
No. This is Spanish, I believe.
Spanish? All right.
So yeah, it's supposed to have the flavor profiles are supposed to be earthy spices, salty notes.
Sounds like something you'd read in New Orleans. La Fleur.
La Fleur.
Yeah, down.
You gotta put that little hacky sound on La Fleur.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not. I'll tell you what. We didn't decide we were going to both do Honduran cigars tonight. That just kind of fell into play that way,
And it's kind of interesting because like with Nicaraguan, like in that Esteli region, the cigars have a really unique flavor profile. And these here, I think they got more of a salty. Do you have a kind of a saltier flavor in yours? Because I noticed that like the roasted nuts, kind of the salty roasted nut flavor.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of saltiness. Not just nuts though. I'm getting some of that cedar, little bit of spice type of thing too. There is a nutty cedar combination with a little bit of a hint of salt. It's kind of a salty sodium type of deal there. It's definitely not a sweet tip, that's for sure.
Right. Well, they're saying that this the wrapper is kind of oily on this, which it's more of like a dull sheen in my eyeballs. It's not really an oily wrapper.
I don't think they really have too many oily ones, St. Louis Rey, do they?
Well, remember this is a Nicaraguan wrapper.
Yeah. Well,
so
I don't know. Doesn't look all that oily from where I'm sitting.
No, it's actually kind of dry. It feels like it's got kind of an oddball flavor.
Mine's nice and dry. This Connecticut wrapper. You're not getting any oil off this thing.
No oily wrapper.
No.
So anyways, getting back to the flavor profile, this is supposed to have some earthy spices and salty notes, making this a solid medium bodied cigar. Now, like with us, we smoke so many cigars that, we got kind of like this palate that's built up for it. And, like beginners, when you get into smoking cigars, beginners can't really smoke these without maybe getting a little choked up on it because they are a little more stronger.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend people starting off smoking cigars to smoke those. Actually, I always tell people, man, if you're starting to get into smoking cigars, you're better off with a Dominican.
Absolutely.
Dominicans
Nice
are
smooth. It's kind of a lazy cigar to,
yeah, a little less,
chill with.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like Dominicans. There was a
I do
time
too.
there where I was just getting like, especially when we had a lot of heat in the summer, the
Yeah.
Nicaraguans were getting to be a little too much for me, and I was kind of getting like, oh, if I was overheated or if I was out in the heat and I tried to smoke one of them, I would be like, oh, I'm not feeling too good at all. So I was like, man, I better start smoking some lighter Nicaraguans because the heat drains your sodium and your water intake in your body and stuff if you're out in the heat. And if you smoke some of these heavy cigars, especially these Nicaraguans, man, it'll
They'll
really
choke you out, right?
it'll make you feel like shit.
Yeah, and if your sugars are a little low too, it might hit you a little funny,
I always have like some blood sugar issues, so yeah, it's
Right.
you know, it's one of
So
those things.
tonight I'm supporting my Stars and Bars cowboy hat. Yeah.
Giddy up, partner.
Giddy up.
Love that hat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like it.
And of course, I'm once again sporting my Stay
Hey,
Frosty.
Frosty.
That goes out to all the military dudes out there.
Yeah.
Some of y'all know, especially some of you grunts know the term Stay Frosty. So, same thing as staying prepared, stay alert, stay prepared,
Right.
Oh.
So Tig, we were just talking, now cigars. Now, you stopped over the other night with your lovely wife.
Yes, I did. We had a long ass ride.
That's pretty cool, man. I was like, I heard your bike pull up. I'm like, all right, man. I think that's Tig,
Yeah. I had our business cards to give you.
Yeah, the business cards.
They're going to be going all over the nation. Yeah, and we took a ride all over, and hit some places we wanted to hit. Actually, some places I've been wanting to hit for some time, and then we hit a park area where they had like different animals, various animals. Saw a bald eagle up close and that. And
that's cool.
Pretty nice.
I saw a picture of you petting that skunk, dude.
Yeah. Well, they had these taxidermist different animals, and there's a skunk there. And so I'm like to my wife, I'm like, Michelle, I go, this would be hilarious for Facebook. You got to take a picture of me kneeling down, petting this skunk.
Yeah.
And I'm going to post it. I'm going to write a comment like, I wonder whose stench is worse, mine or Pepe's news at this point.
Probably were all swamp assed out, right?
Oh, it was freaking 91 degrees out.
Yeah, it was pretty warm. We sat out back and puffed on a stogie. It was pretty cool.
Well, when it was 91, I mean, the air is fine riding the Harley, but you can feel when you come to a stop, the heat off the motor of the Harley. Because, for some of y'all that don't know the difference in motorcycles, they're air-cooled engines, the Harley engines are. There's no water-cooled radiator in them, so they depend on air to cool those motors. Those motors can get awful pretty warm, and on a hot 91 degree day when you come to a stop, man, you can feel that heat up in your crotch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, but it was a good day overall. And when we stopped in to give you those business cards and send a teaser and sit and lounge back. You got a nice backyard there, by the way, too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Nice, well-maintained looking. The landscape looks really cool.
Yeah,
there.
I didn't cut the grass though this weekend, so you missed my manicured professional look golf course. Usually,
I like the raised up area you got with the block all around.
Oh yeah, with the rubber mulch and everything and all the plants and shit. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's a cool little setting.
Yeah, maybe I'll have you come over and help me on the other side when I go to do that one, because that's going to be a little different, a little trickier.
I can do that.
Yeah,
I can do that. I've done my share of gardening and landscaping.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I took a master gardening course, a few years back, and uh, got a certificate from Iowa State University actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Cycle,
Botany,
huh?
botanist.
The cyclones. I'm master gardening.
Oh, master gardening. Okay, gotcha.
I'm more of where they say it's better to have a how's that term put? It's better to have a warrior in a garden than a gardener and a warrior than a gardener at war, so to speak.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I'm both. I'm the warrior and the gardener, so it doesn't matter. I can do both.
yeah.
Put the
Nice.
warrior in the garden, we're good because I'm a gardener too. So
Right.
and it's good.
Oh.
It's good stuff. So
Tig, let's move on into the program here. We don't want to bore everybody with our stupid shit, but we had a good weekend.
We did.
Yeah. So, moving into that Charlie Kirk, man, that's kind of a bummer. But you know what? We've heard so many stories and saw so many different angles to this. We're just gonna explore, the differences. Don't take it that we're saying this is what happened or that's what happened. We're just gonna explore a bunch of different angles.
Unlike that triggered individual who's all mad at me because I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Don't give him any time.
And I said to him, your opinion means nothing to me. I have a right to my opinion. If you don't like what I have to say, get the hell off my page, unfriend me on Facebook, whatever. I don't care. I don't care, And the thing is here we go. This guy's a conservative. He's getting on my case, trolling on me. Hey, folks, you know what? We all have different opinions. We all have a right to our opinion. We all, if it weren't for conspiracy theorists, truth wouldn't come out. Okay.
Right.
It's like in science, you have to question everything, come up with a theory. That way you get your answers, right? Well, we try to investigate everything. We try to take every story, and I take into merit a lot of the stories because some of them you have a hard time arguing with. Really, some people have some really good points out there, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I never thought of that. And the thing is, we have a right to our opinion. And this, when you got conservatives trying to shut down other conservatives. Now you're doing what the left does. Now you're doing what the government wants to do, and that's censor. And that's away your First Amendment rights. And I'm here to tell you, you ain't going to censor my shit. All right? You want to troll my ass, get the fuck, go kick rocks, man. All right? Because you're not going to censor me. All right? You're not going to censor anybody. This is the United States of America. We all have a right to our opinion. We all have a right to voice our opinion.
Right. Well, there's a little ditty called the First Amendment. So, we all have that. We enjoy that pleasure of that.
Speaking of which, before we get into Charlie Kirk, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I heard that they have some kind of government site now that says, oh, if you hear anybody saying anything negative about Charlie Kirk or saying this or that negative or misinformation, report it to this site. That's bullshit. Okay. And if that comes from our current administration, that's utter crap, because that itself also, what are you going to do? You're violating somebody's First Amendment. Well, they have the right to say what they want. I get it. A lot of these liberal monsters have come out and said, oh, good, we're glad Charlie Kirk was killed. And it's disgusting. It's classless, but they still have their First Amendment right to do it. Right. And you know what? I think a lot of these trolls on Facebook that are doing this, and a lot of these people that on the news that were doing this, some of them, not all, because I know a few that said they're kind of happy Kirk's dead, and they're disgusting as well. But I think some of them are like paid to say that by like the Soroses of the world on national news. So I'm just saying.
And I think, a lot of them are going to push the envelope because they are getting paid, whether it is being paid by Soros or, the government or whoever or influencers.
They got what they want. They want to further the divide.
Yes.
They want to further the divide and conquer. And that's what they're doing right now, folks. Don't give in to the bullshit. Okay. They want to keep us divided. Next up, they're going to take away the guns. They're going to try to do that. They want They want civil unrest any way they can
Right.
get.
But you know, the way I'm looking at this, Tig, is I don't think they really were pushing for the gun control because, you know, number one, they didn't say it was a big black, you know,
No,
bad AR, you know.
well, but the thing is the gun control. The whole thing is what they want to do is push civil unrest so that there's like almost like civil war, so that they can bring martial law into it and then take the guns. See what I'm
Right.
saying? They're trying to divide so that there's civil unrest. A lot of conservatives were mad. They were ready to go out and just fucking stomp some liberals after this happened.
Yeah, I mean, after, you know, when they were doing their vigils, they actually did stomp a
I
few
know.
bastards that fucking got stupid, you know.
That was
Like
dumb.
the dude on the bicycle, he was going through the crowd. Yeah, glad he got shot. And then they just fucking bash. They fucking took his shit right out, man.
Put the boots to him.
Fuck yeah, they did. They fucking polarized that dude.
That was funny.
He got what he deserved, you
That's
know.
that's a little taste of what could happen though in the streets of America.
Right.
With all the division, man. I mean,
And
a country united, a country divided cannot stand, and we have never been more divided than we are now. You know,
right.
and this Charlie Kirk thing just makes it worse.
Yes, it does.
So,
And you know, but you know, the flip side to it, Tig, is that, you know, we have seen, you know, more revival going on. So that was, you know, pretty stellar, you know, and it's not only in the United States, it's in other countries as well.
well, the beautiful thing, I guess, as a result, whether some people say he was just a character or not, and yes, folks, that's where some people said he's a character and it's world's a stage and they're all characters, and some of that is true. And so whether he was a character or not, whether his killing was staged like some videos are saying and they're explaining thoroughly how it was, or whether it was real and it was real done by who and the one thing about Charlie Kirk, whether he's a regular guy or a character, it doesn't matter.
Right.
He brought a lot of young people and a lot of people in general,
Yeah.
Christ to Christianity. And not only that,
And that's huge.
he brought a lot of youth to traditional family values again, to being patriotic again, to conservatism, to teaching them the Constitution, you know. So, you know, regardless, he did a lot of good stuff. I mean, you can't knock it, you know.
Right.
So, but should we get into some of the different angles and ideas?
Yeah, let's you know, just kind of remember this, folks, that Charlie had a 1.7 million Instagram followers. So I mean, he was significant, you know. He was not, you know, like us. It's only got 500 or 600 people, you know. And
Not
our numbers are growing though. I mean, we're growing.
Our numbers are growing, not counting the YouTube followers, the podcast
Right.
followers, and the
Or
national.
the audios, because the audios, you know, some people don't care to watch us. They just would rather listen to us, and that's fine, you know.
And the national national television show he had on Real America's Voice and all that too. So,
Right.
Wow. So when I first saw it, the video, the actual graphic video of it Wednesday, I was with my wife and you know, my son, my daughter, you know, or my two daughters, I should say. I'm saying I'm sick of calling them stepdaughter or stepson, so I'll just say son, daughter, two daughters.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I'm sitting there and I say to them, I look at the actual shooting, right, in fast motion, motion,
in regular, yeah.
and I see him hit, I see the neck, and I see it pour out, and he leans over, and I said to them, he's dead. He did not survive that. All right. And about within an hour later, they pronounced him dead. And I said, I knew he didn't survive that shot. That looked like an artery shot. Actually, wasn't quite an artery shot. It was an artery shot, but to me, it should have been shooting out a little bit more than pouring. But regardless, and I'll tell you of an experience I had when I was younger years ago that has actually stayed with me all of my life, but I'll get into that later about how I know about gunshot wounds. Okay. But I was like, he didn't make it. He's dead. But so the first thing they say is a 200-yard shot away. Well, first of all, when he got hit, right? When he got hit, you heard the gunshot around the same time. So it couldn't have been 200 yards away because it takes time for it to travel. You would have seen him hit and reacting, and then you would have 1,000, 2,000 heard the bang. Okay. So we know it wasn't a rifle. We know it wasn't on the roof because that would have been a downward shot. And it wasn't downward. Okay. Couldn't have been downward.
Right.
Some of them say, oh, it ricocheted off his chest plate. He didn't really have a chest plate. And if he did, it wouldn't have ricocheted off. It probably would have got stuck and embedded into that plate. Okay. So that's that. The guy they got right now is not the killer. I will say that.
I'm afraid that he isn't.
I don't give a shit what you people think out there or what Fox News says, what any of the news says, what the government says, what the FBI says. That is a patsy. I don't care if he admitted to it or not. They got him on watch right now. He's going to be Epsteined one way or another, or he's got him, he's a patsy. He did not do it. I'm telling you right now, he is not the guy. Guy was closer. The guy who did it was closer. And I believe that a couple of the security guys were behind it too, were part of it. There was a team that did this.
Yeah.
There was a team. And it came in at an angle. Okay. And so I don't think we're ever going to know who did it. You know what's interesting about Charlie Kirk? Last few weeks, especially before he was shot, he kind of got under the government of Israel's crawl a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
Making remarks about certain Jews and their influence and
he spoke out about the Zionists. So, I mean, they did not like that.
And the Zionists are very bad dudes. I don't care what people think, what you've been brought up to feel as a Christian. We've been brought up to feel that we should protect Israel at any cost. But now, in the latter part of our years, we're finding out some different things about not the Jews, but so much, but the Israeli government, the Zionists. They're the political sect of Israel. The Mossad which is like our CIA. And so don't put any doubts that maybe they were behind his killing as well. We have a lot of Mossad and a lot of Zionists embedded in the United States. All right. This was quite a big crowd he had there too. Yeah. And there's a lot of questions regarding there will always be questions regarding who actually did do the shooting. We'll never find out. That shooter's long gone. Right. Some people say it was a lucky shot. It was a novice. I don't know about that. I think it was pretty professional. I think it was professional in a sense that they made it look confusing enough and they made it look like this. And so, to get the whole thing was well orchestrated, well planned out. Very much so. If it looks novice, it's professional to make it look novice. Okay. That's how that works. All right. There's a certain group of people that are, let's just say they love when they do hits, they love to do the neck shots. So, I'll let people decide on that one. I want you to do some input here, though, Bull. I ain't going to do all the talking here. I'm going to do some more.
No, that's fine. So they were saying that, okay, they recovered a weapon. They said it was a 30-06. Now, that is an extremely high-powered rifle, man.
No fucking way.
That is like just like a couple steps below a 50 cal, I mean.
What would that do to the neck if it had a 30-06 with a bolt action actually hit him?
Well, if it would have hit the neck, you would have saw chunks of flesh. I mean, I'm trying to be
real graphic.
Yeah, this is gonna be graphic. So you would have saw actual chunks of his neck just disintegrate, and you would have saw a huge blood splatter against that back, white, tent, and you would have saw that tent.
Blood.
It would have fluttered really hard because of that bullet going, through his neck and then through that screen or whatever.
People behind him probably would have got sprayed.
Yeah. So, 30-06. No, I'm not buying it for 1 minute. Not one fucking minute.
I don't even think a 308 at this point.
No.
Okay, I know what a 308 looks like. I know what kind of damage that does. And
Right.
I'll tell you what, you
Although
know,
it could have been a 308 at close range.
hmm yeah, but not 200 yards.
No, not 200 yards. I think it was maybe a big caliber through a small, like a pistol type, or
The guy, the guy on the roof was a decoy, folks. The guy on the roof didn't do that shot. And even if it was a shot, the guy on the roof still would have been a decoy. If it was a 200-yard shot, think about this. Someone would have had a glass cutter and would have cut a glass in the window, would have been on one of the floors of the building, and would have done a straighter shot because that tent kind of overhangs. You're not going to be taking that shot from up above looking downward because the angle of the shot that hit him, there's no way that shot would have been off of a rooftop.
Yeah, and they're saying that, the bullet actually entered, like his like his shoulder or his delt, and you saw his shirt go like this.
Cage at an angle too. Some say his rib cage at an angle coming up.
And you seen his shirt pop up, and then you saw him slump over, and then that's when you saw the blood coming out of it. And they're saying that, the bullet tumbled inside of his, like his shoulder region and through his clavicle, and then it came out his neck. So, just kind of giving you a little rundown of what they're saying, but we'll never know because, they ain't gonna release the autopsy at all about this. So,
Well, and here's the thing. Why wasn't there an ambulance there at an event like that where anybody can have a medical problem at any time? Where's the ambulance? Why are they putting him in an SUV after
or even a simple first aid kit with pack? I mean, that's what you do on those types of wounds.
Video footage took a shot at his security guy dressed in black and then put it side by side with another Secret Service guy during a certain shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. And they look strikingly the same.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That we'll never know as well either. So, I mean, that's pure speculation.
Well,
so,
folks, I'm going to tell you right now. There's a couple videos out there. One that's an hour long, one that's half hour long, that says that this whole world is a stage and then everybody's a character. And they even talk about the 33, the number, and they talk about the Freemasonry being involved and all that. And they're wondering it took 33 hours to investigate Charlie Kirk's death. And at the same time, his wife went on a couple of days afterwards. And someone says, no, there's no way a widower would come on that soon to give that kind of talk. And she came on exactly at 5:33. So that 33 number keeps popping up. So some of you folks want to look into that. I know some of you folks know what I'm talking about. And if you want to do your research on that, yeah, come Freemasonry, come to your conclusion. Come to your conclusion on the sacrificial person there. You could also look at the fact that this guy showed on the film and explained on an hour show how Hollywood makes shots look very, very real, like in the movies, and how they could have easily faked staged Charlie Kirk's death with like blood packets, and they got these little fine tubes and pumps and fake blood, and how they use prosthetics and stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are showing close-ups where Charlie's neck looks a little thicker than it normally does and stuff like that. So I'm getting reamed by somebody for saying, oh, you're a conspiracy.
And just remember, these are just theories. We're not saying this is what happened or not. So, I mean,
we need to make theories, folks. We need to look at every angle. One, for our show, and two, it's good to be able to take every angle, every story. We should never, ever stick with one story, one narrative, because that's where we get in trouble, folks. Do you really believe the government and do you really believe the media? Okay, why do you believe the narrative in the same story that they put out? Okay, that should tell you right there something's not right. There's a lot of these things in this Charlie Kirk shooting that was not right, that did not pass the smell test, from the shooting to the security to the shooter that they caught, everything, to putting him in the SUV, to a lot of stuff they're finding out.
Ambulance. Yeah.
Okay, there is a .com called bitchute.com. bitchute.com. And there's a thing called on that BitChute called, quote, "The show must go on, Erica Kirk's casket," talking about why all of a sudden would she film talking and sitting there over his casket, and yet they didn't show the face. But why would they show such a thing at the funeral?
Yeah, that's just
why would they
bizarro.
why would they film her talking to his body? The hands did not look real. They look like a mannequin's hands. So we're getting into conspiracy theories, but there is a lot of questions about why is this happening. So this show on bitchute.com, it's called "The Show Must Go On, Erica Kirk's Casket." It's about a half-hour run. Search it, folks. Look at it. Watch it. And then come to your own conclusions, okay? Go down the rabbit hole. Folks, never listen to the single same stories over and over again. Do your research. Go down the rabbit hole and figure out for yourselves. Then I have this guy who's supposed to be a Republican conservative grilling me. "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're posting this crap, blah, 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 blah." And this came from like this there's this Wilson Acole. I don't know what he has a YouTube channel called "A Call for an Uprising" too. And then on Rumble, there was a show about, it's called something about they're all characters or whatever, and why Charlie Kirk's thing was staged. It's on Rumble, actually, which is a free speech thing. So there's a lot of programs out there now that are explaining very hard to argue explanations as to how, why that this could have been a staged shooting. Okay. I defended it, and I didn't defend it so much because I believed it 100%. I defended it because we have to open our minds as people, and we have to research, take every avenue, and we have to take every story, and we should take into consideration everything that people have to say, because that's how we learn, folks. That's how we learn. That's there's always theories to come to conclusions on everything.
Right.
But being that said, everybody has a right to free speech, no matter if you like it or not, or if you're against it or not. And all I'm doing is I'm trying to find everything about this. And this guy saying to me, "Oh, I want proof. I want proof." Absolutely, you want proof, don't you? And I finally sent him one of the videos. I go, "Well, here, look at this video. This is where we're getting." He scoffs at it and wipes it off. "Okay, wipe your ass with it. I don't care, dude. Wipe your ass with it. Big deal. I showed you something." Okay. So here's the thing, though. You're telling me the burden of proof lies within me for putting it up there? I'm going to tell you this. I've told everybody
shoot your mouth off.
When I say something, when I even if I'm 100% behind the story, 100% behind what I'm saying, okay, I don't have to hold your bitch ass hand and walk you through the research. Get your ass down the rabbit hole yourself and do the research and come to your own conclusion instead of bitching at me about it. If you don't think
don't give me more time, dude.
If you don't think I'm right, prove me wrong. This is for everybody that thinks I should prove them on anything. I'm just giving you something, all right, for the show.
Right.
If you don't believe me, you don't have to believe me. But you know what? Go down the rabbit hole yourself, okay? I don't need to take you down the rabbit hole that far. You just look it up yourself, do your own research, and you know what? Have an open mind, and I'll tell you what, prove me wrong, because nobody yet has proved me wrong when they disagree with me. So I want you to prove me wrong. I want somebody to prove me wrong. And by being that said, folks, we aren't getting enough people in the chat room here. Get on the chat room. You got a live chat. We're live right now. Get up there, say something. We want to hear what you have to think about this whole business, because it helps get the dialogue going, man.
So according to some people, they were saying that well, this kind of brings back kind of memories from other times, but they were saying that our sneaky fucking government, while this was all going down, was taking a vote.
Yes, they were.
Now this vote was to release the Epstein files.
Mm-hmm. And what did they do?
they've actually they blocked the files from being released.
Imagine that.
Now,
Imagine
I want to set something straight. Some people are saying, "Oh, I bet you Trump's on it." I bet you he's not. I bet you Trump is not on it, and I'll give you the reason why. Because we had this little fuck stain called Biden who spent the last 4 years in our fucking presidency. Don't you think they would have gotten rid of Trump with that alone?
Yes.
Come on, people.
Wouldn't they have wanted to take
fucking acting stupid about shit?
If he was on that file, you'd think they would want to bring it up to take him down a long time ago. I think Biden was on that Epstein list. In fact, I know he's on that list. So is the Clintons. And so are a handful of Zionists.
And so is Obama,
paying off a lot of our people on both sides of the aisle. Okay, I don't care what you folks think. I got liberals and conservatives mad at me now, Republicans and Democrats, because I tell you right now, both parties are shit stained. Both parties are worthless. They both suck, as our business card says on the back.
Yes.
Right. They're both bought and paid by the same corporations, the same businesses, same bankers, same foreign entities. And that's why we're not being represented. And that's why they're screwing us in the ass every stinking day. So we need to stop being so divided. Okay. You liberals are worse than you conservatives because you just don't want to reason. You don't want to have a good debate, a good discussion, a calm, reasonable discussion. But the fact of the matter is, if liberals and conservatives could somehow unite over something, unite over the fact that both parties suck, both parties are corrupt, and both parties are screwing us, and know who the real enemy is. It's not we the people, it's them.
It's them. Some of the other things, Tig, which was kind of interesting, what was kind of interesting on some of those other things that they were voting on, they passed an amendment that would ban the Pentagon from boycotting Ishmael. And that's what I'm going to call the certain country, Ishmael.
Ishmael. We know what you're talking about. Come on.
So
say it. Yes. The Zionists.
They also proposed a bill for Rubio to revoke passports for Ishmael critics. So they're trying to fuck people for just speaking out against them. Who the fuck are they?
Well, happy Hanukkah to you too.
And then a couple of more little ditties here. These are tasty little morsels. The House approved $650 million for Ishmael missile defense, and then Rubio visits Ishmael.
Yeah.
Where does this ever stop or go or end?
They got enough nukes actually to destroy the entire world. They've got that Samson option too. You ever hear the Samson option?
Yeah.
That's the option that they can say fuck it and blow the whole fucking world up with their nukes. Basically. Yeah. That we help to them get because we fund them all the time. And now they've got free life insurance on our behalf while we still have people that can't afford insurance. That should piss American people off.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit, Tig. There's just shit.
We can get into that all damn night long.
So, Tig, let me ask you a question. Let's get off of this a little bit, and because we're really wrapped up a whole lot of time in this. Yeah, how is that smoke? How's your?
It's consistent. It's good. It's a good
Warhawk. The Warhawk.
95 rating. It's a good smoke. You're gonna get some bits of cedar, some bits of nutmeg, nuts in it. A little bit of a kind of a salty flavor.
California, dude. These fucking Hondurans, they got like a little salt taste in it.
Cedar, woody. It's a good cigar. It draws nice and smooth. It's a fairly mild smoke. It's got some flavor behind it. Stays consistent. No barnyard. Won't choke you. Stays lit pretty well. Burns very evenly. It's a great cigar. Pick a Henry Clay Warhawk up at any cigar shop you walk into. It's you can't go wrong with this cigar.
I remember smoking that and I thought it was a pretty decent stick. So Are you gonna ask me about mine?
Yeah, I am going to ask you about mine. You let me take my puff. All right. Let me enjoy this for a second. All right. So how's it going with that Louis
St.
Stone,
Louis Ray.
St. Louis Ray? Because I'll tell you what, I know they're pretty good smoke.
Yeah, this Carinas.
Golly, now let me roll my R's. I can't even do it.
Carinas.
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 I suck
Yeah.
today.
So do I. Yeah, this is good. Like I said, it's got that salty kind of, Honduran tobacco flavor to it, but with the Nicaraguan wrapper on it, it gives it a little bit more of a fuller body to it, so a little medium to fuller body flavor. So it actually is a pretty decent smoke. It does have the salt flavors. I can taste the spiciness. So I think it's a pretty good stick. I mean, for $5, I was willing to give it a try. There it is.
That's good. Good deal. It's getting down there. I took the other second wrapper off of mine.
Oh, sure. Gotcha.
Wow.
All right. So let's move into 9/11 a little bit, since we just passed the 9/11 anniversary. So let's talk a little bit about that.
God, 24 years really rolls by fast, doesn't it?
Shit, yeah. Yeah, it almost seems like yesterday we just did the anniversary, program.
During 9/11, I was working out and I seen that all occur and I went back to training to get back into military shape so I could go back in the military. I remember that. Damn Marines wouldn't take me. Said I was too old, so I ended up Navy. So, anywho, 9/11. If you still believe the original narrative, you are so far gone. You might as well just, I don't know what to tell you. You're an idiot. I mean, seriously, box cutter knives didn't happen. Planes don't melt steel. Okay, folks, it's thermite. All right. And whether you believe that the planes might have been a holographic imagery and it was an actual Tomahawk missile, cruise missiles that can have holograms, and yes, they had the technology back then. The fact of the matter was it wasn't planes themselves that brought those buildings down, especially the Pentagon. No plane could fly that low in the Pentagon. There was no evidence whatsoever of a plane hitting it, but there was all kinds of evidence, and I know everything about missile damage, and that was definitely a Tomahawk cruise missile that hit that Pentagon.
Yeah.
And Building 7 wasn't even hit. That was a demo. They brought that down with demolition explosives.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah. And nobody talks about the five Israelis that were caught on top of a white van cheering and that for the buildings when they seen those buildings coming down. And skeptics say it was totally Mossad. And in fact, Mossad was the one that did this anyway to put us in a 20+ year war on terror based on a lie. And that's the truth right there, folks. There again, they're always starting.
Well, I mean, in the 24 years, our technology has gotten, so advanced to where, they threw this model through, different scenarios to see if they actually could come down with an airplane, and all the models that they were showing, none of the models would even come close to bringing a building down.
No, it's thermite. Hey, thermite. Let's talk about thermite and thermal oxidation, because you know who gave this away quite a few years back, there was a comedy show called The Big Bang Theory. And they were all scientists, right? In the Big Bang Theory, they were scientists. They were PhDs. They worked, in science at the university and stuff, right? Well, two of the main characters did, and they basically gave away how those buildings would have came down too. See, they did what was called a experiment, kind of just to show. They showed the one girl. I think the one girl, the experiment. Two of them were doing an experiment, the guy and the girl, with oxygen and silicon dioxide.
Yeah.
Oxygen and silicon dioxide make a thermal oxidization, thermite, just like thermite bombs that can actually melt steel.
Yeah.
So they took a thermal oxidation to create thermal incineration, and this was demonstrated to destroy an eating utensil, which they mix these two, these two characters in the Big Bang Theory, they mix these two in a glass, these chemicals in a glass to make thermite, and they dropped a spoon or like a eating utensil in it, and it melted it down, just totally disintegrated.
Somebody actually played this on television?
They showed it on television, yes.
Oh my
And I
God.
saw it and I wrote it down. I said, this is going to be great for this show, because this is exactly, they're giving you a hint how they can melt steel in a building using thermite bombs through thermal oxidization. It's totally science. And yeah, so, basically they proved the buildings during 9/11 were actually destroyed by thermite explosives that created thermal oxidization, which they explained on the show through an experiment with an eating utensil.
Yeah.
An insuration to melt steel beams is what they did with thermal oxidization, which they did as an experiment on the Big Bang Theory television show. If you ever catch this episode, I forget what episode it was. I don't know. I think it was like season 8.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll research that a little bit just to make 100%,
Oh, no, it's on the show. I watched the clip too.
Yeah.
I saw the show. We watched the show. My wife and I love watching the show. And when I seen it just a month ago on an episode.
A month ago. Wow.
Well, the show's been off the air for
right. I know.
You watch the reruns. I'm watching the rerun, and I'm watching something like, oh shit, I gotta write this down. So I wrote it down. I've had it on paper ever since. Like, this is going to explain how those buildings came down. It wasn't jet fuel, folks, because jet fuel doesn't melt steel. But they did that experiment, and I'm like, oh my God, that's thermal oxidization. That's thermite bombs that they could have used to take those buildings out, and that's what they did. And I think it was Mossad, but I'm just saying for educational and entertainment purposes, folks, because I am not suicidal. But anyway, yeah. So the thing is they even hinted at on a show. They hinted how they could take down buildings and steel, how they could melt steel, and how they could use an experiment like that with chemicals. You take those chemicals to make a bomb. That's how you can melt steel. That's how you take down buildings. Now, let's do a quote from Netanyahu, where he had said, we at the present time of 9/11, we are benefiting from one thing, and that is the attack on the Twin Towers in Pentagon and the American struggle in Iraq. They said they were benefiting from it. Okay, so who do you think really was the instigator here of 9/11 and the towers and everything? Because they wanted us in Iraq. They wanted us to fight their war for them on the terror, their war in the Middle East. Okay, that's how they took out Saddam Hussein too. But taking him out was so they could have a regime change. Sound familiar? Because they want one in Iran too. Sound familiar? Because they wanted them to go into a central bank instead of having their own money, their own currency. That's a whole other topic we've talked about before. Oh, and the owner of the Twin Towers, Larry Silverstein, Ishmael. He had always been at work every single day except for the day of 9/11 where he didn't show up to work, and he received the largest insurance payout ever in history from that day.
And why would an insurance company pay out like that?
Yeah, it must have been a hell of a pay for the insurance company too. He must have been giving buku dollars to them.
Well, they said like billions of dollars. He made like, I don't know, shit, was it 9 billion or some shit like that from those buildings going down?
And I wonder
from what they were saying though is that there was like asbestos all over those buildings, and it would have costed like 250 billion to just to get to mitigate that. So
I wonder which foreign entity has stock or ownership in that insurance company too. Paid out. And then you ask why the tons of money was reported missing from the Pentagon the day before.
Yeah,
on the 10th.
Right.
So then you got people always ask, Well, then, okay, if the real, what happened to the real planes then that the passengers were on board? Well, they were flown off the radar in a place in the middle of nowhere that nobody knows about, owned by the government. It's all government land, undisclosed, and those people were assassinated. They were killed. They were killed. That's called collateral damage. Yes, yes, for an agenda, government will kill its own.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not so sure. Our government would have been behind it. They would have known who did it. I don't think it was maybe the government itself. I think maybe it was a foreign entity that we pay out buku dollars to all the time that basically were in their back pockets. All right. They kind of own us, so to speak. So I think they were the ones that did it. So, you know, for a huge agenda, of course. If this agenda is so big, they don't care if they kill some wrong place at the wrong time, people. Sad that they were on those planes that kind of, you know, had to become the collateral damage. But, you know, I just want to give some tidbits here too. A Boeing 767-200 can't glide through the air at 440 miles per hour at an altitude of 1,000 feet without the integrity of the plane being compromised. But a Tomahawk cruise missile with holographic imagery can. That's maybe what you saw hit the buildings along with demo bombs that day. Yeah. And we know that Bush administration was in the back pocket of a certain Ismail, as you put it, Bull.
Yeah.
In a plot to create Middle Eastern lasting war against Ismail's enemies. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah. You know, we all know this. And for people that still don't believe this, you all have gone, you're long gone. You know, you probably got your 7th booster shot by now too. So, you know, we don't want to talk. We don't care. You know, you people, if you don't want to look at the reality, you know, I guess you didn't take the red pill. You're stuck in a matrix where you like it, where your fantasy world is, and that's where you're going to stay. You'll never,
that's fine. And
you'll never want to know reality, folks. So live in your fantasy world all you want. You know, go ahead and comply with everything, and, you know, be glad to lose your freedoms because of safety, because you're all scared, you know, all frightened little girls. So that's, you know, I hate.
You're just all worried about dressing up like girls too, you know. I mean, it's just kind of.
Yeah, but I hate to say it. I think we're pretty much done with 911.
All right. So do you want to talk a little bit of let's see what timer we got. Okay, we're sitting good. What's that?
I want to make a statement getting back to Charlie Kirk a little bit, not so much him, but okay, when you're in the military, folks, especially if you're an officer, high profile, you're not supposed to make a political bias while you're in uniform. That's a no-no. That's an Article 15.
Right.
That's me. You're not supposed to be biased towards one or the other. You represent the United States of America, both political sides, okay? That's your job. You represent them. You represent the whole nation. So we got a couple officers in the military that came out and said they were pretty much glad Charlie died, or Kirk, and he got what he deserved. That's not good. That's way out of line for anybody in the military, let alone officers. Well, the breaking news is the Department of War, and rightfully so, suspends Army Colonel Scott Stevens after he justified the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He is now under further investigation, and justifiably so.
Absolutely.
That is unbecoming of an officer in the Army. That is unbecoming of a military man. When you wear the uniform, you represent everybody without bias. You're not allowed to get out there publicly and make a bias. And that pissed me off when I was reading that yesterday. I was so pissed off about that.
Right.
You know what? I don't care. You know what? First of all, I don't really care for liberals. I don't care for liberal spoke people, but I would never want to see them assassinated. That's wrong. And I never want to see them silenced. Okay. They have just as much freedom of speech as we do. We may not like it. We may not like what they say or agree with it, but they still have a right to the freedom of speech like anybody else does. In the military should never show a political bias to one way or another. They should shut their mouths, do what they're told, do their job, and that's it, representing everybody, because they have a commander of chief that they need to answer to, no matter what side of the aisle he is on in his political party. Your job Your job is to do your job, and your job is to represent both sides of the aisle at that point. All American. There is nothing more American than the military, okay? Representing the red, white, and blue. Not the red, not the blue, red, white, and blue. So that's just a little commentary I wanted to make because it pisses me off. If you are a military person in uniform, don't get on Facebook, TikTok, or any of that bullshit, especially with your uniform on, and start making a political biased statement. Shut your fucking mouth like you were taught in boot camp and do your damn job. Period. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, just getting back, I mean, with Charlie's passing and everything, it really did hit a lot of people. And it was, like I was saying earlier, it was all over the, the world pretty much. We've had people in Germany, doing vigils, and they weren't just small vigils. They were like millions of people, in the streets. And, why doesn't the United States do this?
Because they're so
Why?
divided.
I don't get it. I don't fucking get it.
Divided. They're so divided. We should not be a country that's this divided, folks. It's terrible. All right. Liberals
and
are more responsible than conservatives, actually.
These other countries are like in major revivals. They're in the spirit. I mean, they're in the Holy Spirit. Why isn't this happening in the United States?
Well, and you know what? We had an illegal president named Obama that started this bullshit too. So, he should be brought up on charges anyway for treason. But, here we are.
They're working on that, but
we'll believe it when we see it, kind of, But the thing is, don't be too distracted by this, folks, because now everybody's kind of getting swallowed up in this story, and it makes you wonder what they're doing behind the scenes while we're distracted. That's your government, folks. That is your government. So keep your eyes peeled, stay focused. Let's get past this. And to even the damn liberals out there and the conservatives are divided amongst themselves too now, which doesn't bid well for midterms coming up. We have got to be united as a country again. We need to do what we did back in the past. And even though we disagree, we still have a right to our opinion. We still have a right to our freedom of speech because we have a constitution, and we need to start being reasonable and debating and having conversation again instead of killing each other over stuff. Nobody should be killed for free speech. Nobody should be killed because they say what you do not like. Okay. We need to start having honest debates again, and we need to agree to disagree sometimes. We need to unite this country. I don't care what it takes. We need to unite this country or we will fall. And we are about to fall. And the powers that be want us to fall. We need to know who our real enemy is. It's not we the people. It's them. It's DC. It's the powers behind the politicians that are paying them. And it's the politicians on both sides of the aisle that have betrayed us, that have sold out and sold us out. Like I like to quote George Carlin all the time. He's like,
he was so spot on,
It's a big club and you're not in it. He said, forget about the politicians. We're talking about the real owners they own everything. They own the politicians. They own us. They own all the land. They own everything. He's like, it's one big club and you're not in it. The elitists, the top, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Jesuits, the secret societies like the Masons and that, you got the CIA involved, you got the Mossad, you got the Zionists, like I said before, you got the top echelon and the CCP of China. These people, the George Soroses of the world, probably the Bill Gateses of the world, these are the ones. These are the enemy, folks. These are the real enemy.
Yes.
Not certain liberals and certain conservatives, and that just happen to be Joe Blow, So That's the thing we need to start learning, folks, and we need to really start getting united quickly. I don't care what it takes.
And even at the local levels, we need people in the local levels because, like I was explaining before, on our past podcasts, if you think you're going to cut the head of the snake off, it's not going to totally take care of this. This is a problem that runs extremely deep within even at the local levels.
Very much so. In our city, we've got Marxists running our city. They're the biggest bunch of dirtbags ever.
Yes.
They are. And, now we've got a city election coming up too. And I don't got time to get into this, but there's certain moles that are in there. And, recognize who the true person is that really is going to represent you well and not represent themselves, not represent the money, and actually represent the people in their best interest and want to save money and not have to raise your taxes dollars and not want to give some political bias and, basically
stand in line.
Yeah. You don't want your Karl Marxist types running your cities. That's what's wrong right now in American cities is we have too many of those types. They want their 15-minute cities. They want to enslave you. They're sold out. We need to recognize that. We need to not vote for these people, So, yeah.
Anything else? You finish this out? We're right at the hour mark here.
I wanted to make a statement. I wanted to make a statement here. One statement I might make another time in another podcast is regarding war and how it's a racket. I'll talk about that later. Folks, I got this. I seen this on social media. It was a post, and I think it really is well put. If you cannot see that the world is a stage and everything is scripted, you have something wrong with your intuition or an ego problem, because this is elementary and blatant. What is going on, that is elementary and blatant. See it for what it is, folks.
Right.
They've got an agenda. It's scripted. And the main thing is they're doing a good job of divide and conquer right now. And then next they're going to start, they're trying to do censorship. They're constantly trying to take away freedom of speech. Next, they're going to go after the guns again. Recognize this plot, folks.
Yeah.
Stand up for your freedom. Stand up for your rights. And stop being blue. Stop being red. Become red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Become red, white, and blue. I always say, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am a patriot. I am red, white, and blue. All three colors rolled into one. I am red, white, and blue. I'm not some lib turd. I'm not a commie. I hate commies. All right. I'm not even a Republican. I consider myself a constitutional conservative, a patriot. All right. Red, white, and blue. Not red, not blue. Red, white, and blue. We need to get back to that, folks. We need to get back to patriotism, folks. Big time. Stand up for your rights, because those rights weren't given to you by the government. They don't have a right to take it from you because they never gave it to you in the first place. And I have only one parting word, which I always do. One, if you have not received Christ, then your soul is not prepared. And also, if you are not suspicious or a little paranoid, then you are not prepared. Period.
Amen, brother.
Now, for Bull's parting words, and I know he wants to say them with some oomph to him.
Yes. Liberalism is mental illness. Get it. Understand it.
Hooah.
So, all right. So, thanks for following Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Join us on our website there. You can listen to past episodes. We also got a little coffee cup down on the left-hand side. If you click on that, you can you can buy us a cup of coffee if you want. I'd prefer if it had like a little stogie there that you could push the button on and say, hey, I'll buy your next $5 cigar. So, but anyways, all
our website, man. Look at our website. Look at our website down below.
And it's scrolling on the bottom here of our pictures. And Yeah, so we're in the works of working up some other ideas here. We've been kind of brainstorming yesterday, which was kind of cool. So, but more to come on that. We're also on tonight we're on YouTube, Twitch, and of course Rumble. And we're also on like your audio streaming services. I believe we're on Apple. I haven't really checked it though. It says that we're on there. And then we're also on Spotify. We're on iHeartMedia, Podchaser, Podbean, which are some really good podcast hosting. And all the other ones also. So give us a listen to and tell your friends about us. And with that,
spread the word, folks. Spread
the word, and get other people involved in listening to us. And if they like what we say, that's cool. If they don't,
hey, get on our chat. Get on our chat when we're on a live program. Get up there and say something. Strike a dialogue, man. We get in on it.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to hear from anybody. We don't care what side of the aisle, what belief system you have. We want to hear it. We want to get into this debate, conversation, whatever it may be. You got to get on that chat and let's hear.
Help us out, man.
Yeah.
Just jump on.
Yeah.
So, I saw somebody pop up. They're just looking for people to go on some other. Yeah. All right. With that, we are on our way out of here. See you next Sunday, 7:30.
We are going to have a special guest on too next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. Too bad he couldn't have gone, came on a little sooner, but oh well.
Yeah, but we got an anniversary coming up for the United States Navy, and so we're bringing on a Navy vet to talk about that.
That'll be cool, man.
Of a certain ship. Yes.
Shit.
Yes. We'll talk about the anniversary coming up too of the Navy because they got a birthday coming up too. So that's next week, though, folks. That's next week.
Yep. All right, we're out of here.
You've been listening to Stars, Bars, and Cigars. Two conservative vets telling it like it is. The rally cry for those who appreciate bold truths served with a side of mayhem.
Roger, outside, disciple 4, copies all. We'll keep them sweating until we see Butcher 3. Out.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And if you didn't, well, why are you still here, snowflake? We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, follow us on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and hear our precious voices on all the streaming services. Until next time, keep the spirit of freedom roaring.